Here we are talking about the human resources and the human resource management. Well, I'm sure that almost everybody would agree that in the 90s, almost everywhere, people were very much concerned about the human resources and how to tap the resources and what to do for the development of the human beings as a resource. In the latter half of the late 90s, I think it was altogether becoming a kind of a focus for almost all the governments. And then, slowly and steadily, that which was known as the personnel management was attempted to be more labeled as the human resource management. My dear friends, the point as far as the human resource management is concerned is to highlight the fact that every human being has infinite possibilities. So, anything and everything that a human mind conceives can be achieved. Well, it may take some time, some more money, some more energy, some more combinations and permutations are required to get it achieved in the form as we desire. But there are infinite possibilities. One human being represents almost anything and everything. I mean to say, a human being can become an actor, a director, a producer, a singer, or a spectator too. Similarly, he or she can become a professor or a scientist or a particular field-wise leader, innovator, or a soldier for that matter, or even a great politician and whatnot. In short, all human beings have infinite possibilities. When we talk about the human resource development, we are aiming at developing the human resources towards a particular destination. In short, channelizing their time, money, and energy into a particular direction. And that makes a lot of sense. Because the government of a country takes into consideration the coming 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 years and accordingly puts in place the learning today, tries to devise the syllabi and the kind of the education and training that people need to undergo when they become a citizen, when they become adults, they need to be in a position to carry out those particular areas in the field of work very successfully, which they have undergone through their education and training. This is one way of developing the human beings, and the ideas, the material, and the matters that we discuss about doing so into a particular subject is known as the subject related to the human resource development. But my dear friends, there is another matter to be discussed. That is the subject and the object. The subject is human resource development. But who is the object? The object is the human resource. And who is the human resource? The human being himself or herself. My very basic point is, when we say that this is your subject at your school, at your college, is it really the subject? So far, we learned that the subject in grammar is that who is the doer? Who is the doer? Or whosoever is doing anything is the subject. Now, my dear friends, our matter to talk about is, at a university class, if the first lecture is for, say for example, economics, is economics the subject or the object? As far as the terms of grammar are concerned, we know that there are subjects, objects, predicate, verbs, and so on and so forth. The subject is the doer. Now here comes the first lecture on a Monday morning, and we know that what we just had an example is economics. So who is learning economics? The student concerned. Who is teaching economics? The professor concerned. So economics is not doing anything. The action of learning being undertaken by the student. The action of training being undertaken by the professor concerned. And still, as far as the routine is concerned, we call it the first lecture, the subject is economics. So is it really the subject or the object? Whatever has been done by the doer, well, the activity being undertaken is the verb. Say, for example, learning. To learn is the verb. Or training, to train is the verb. But here we call it economics is the subject. Who is learning it? Who is training? So the student is the subject. And for that particular 1 hour period, which is the first lecture. For all the students, the object is economics. The subject is the learner or the trainer. Whatever is being learned or trained is the object. So far, our timetable states subject for the first lecture is this, for the second lecture it's that, like that. So, we need to reconsider. Anyway, we come back to the human resource development. Human resources are the subject. And for the development, whatever training we impart becomes the object. But always remember that the human being is in the center and he or she is the subject. Everything is being taken care of for the human being. So, the human being is the subject. The human being is the engine. If the human being is not there, what is the use of all the industrial estates, all the commercial activities, and all the large commercial centers? So all that has been carried on has been for the human being. That is why of late in the 90s, the more and more of the focus was laid on the human resource and the development thereof. We had various topics under the title Human Resource Management. So the use of the word management has taken place here. Human resource management means whatever number of problems these human beings have been facing, or the kind of the problems that the human beings are likely to face, let us come up with a solution. Let us come up with the problem-solving techniques related to human beings, and that is known as human resource management. So, the kind of the problems that the human beings face, they may vary. They may vary from person to person, age to age, stage to stage, and even from circumstances to various situations. Now, is human resource management nothing but a problem-solving activity? To some extent, the answer is yes. It is the problem solving for human resources. But the human resources have altogether different sets of problems. And more than, you can say more often than not, we come across that the human resources have the problems which are unique. Or you can say na bhuto na bhavishyati, those that had never taken place and probably never will. So we need to come up with a situational approach and altogether an innovative version of the efforts, understanding, and implementation. Because here we are not talking about machines, we are talking about the producer of the machine, the operator of the machine, and to some extent, the destroyer of the machines too. So, with this as the background for human resource management, how to train the human resources, how to develop the human resources in the way we want them to come up will be the focus of attention during the course of study of human resource development. Thank you for being with us for this session. Thank you.